Hello, everyone out there. I am Pastor Anuju, the planter of Christ Apostolic Church, Vineyard of Mercy, and the headquarters at 45-47 Commercial Avenue, Sabo Yaba, Lagos. And I'm also, by the grace of God, the regional superintendent of Christ Apostolic Church, Anson Region. Now, I have come to release this video as a disclaimer to the viral video that was released by Lawyer Olumide Omosebi. Now, this has to do with the sudden death from violent attack and domestic abuse of Evangelist Temitope Odu, who was one of the standing church members of Christ Apostolic Church Vineyard of Mercy. I want to appreciate God for giving us such a gift in life so the day she passed on. She was a wonderful woman. She was a wonderful mother. She was a wonderful woman of God and a vessel that God really used in our midst and among so many other people who related with her while she was here on earth. But suddenly she died, and we were called and we were told by the children how she passed on. But I want to thank every one of you who stood by this beloved late sister of ours. The entire family, her own nucleus family, her siblings, I want to thank you. The three sons, I want to thank you. Caleb, Joshua, and Paul. I thank you for how you stood by your mother. Christ Apostolic Church, Vineyard of Mercy members, male and female, leaders and workers. Thank you so much for the love that you showed to her while she was alive, for how we all supported her and made sure that when she was going through all her troubles, we were there counseling, praying with her, and talking to her, and also helping to fight against this domestic abuse that eventually we know had an impact upon her life before she died. I want to also thank you, all the friends, especially those who are into the legal practice, who have stood by the family all these days after her demise. I want to thank Lawyer Olumide Omosebi, who took it on himself to also uh, prosecute the attacker as seen or as reported by people. This lovely sister has gone to be with the Lord. No one is happy about it. No friend, no church member, no church leader, no colleague, no family member is happy. We are pained by this incident, and we pray that the children she has left behind, that God will take care of them. All the family members, we pray that God will comfort you, and God will bring you peace, and God will also bring justice. So, I want to say, Lawyer Olumide, you did well in some areas and you good in some other areas. I have appreciated you at the beginning of this video for the step you've taken to address domestic violence, for talking about it. We have preached so many sermons against such. We have counseled so many people also regarding such things and suggested to them what they can do to overcome such. But now, your video that is going viral, this video that is going viral, that has accused my person and the church of knowing about the incident and concealing it, of you accusing me personally that I was the one who told her to stay in the marriage that she died. I would want you to come forward with the evidence that said that, that showed that. I would like you to let me know those informants that you have who said that. Could you have loved her more than me? Who mentored her? Who guided her? Who prayed with her? And the family, the children will come to my place to spend holidays. Could you have loved her more than members and leaders of Christ Apostolic Church, Vineyard of Mercy? Could you have loved her more than her siblings, her family members, those who stood by her? Yes, you heard about it, and you will want to speak about the violent attack that had impact upon her life since she passed on. But where you did well, I've mentioned it. Rising with friends and legal practitioners or colleagues, learned colleagues, to speak against domestic violence. Thank you for that. But where you good, where you went into error, is where you accused me personally as the person who said she should stay in the marriage. You need to come up with the evidence. And I would advise you to do the needful regarding your wrong allegations and your accusation. Now, you did this with so much confidence, and you, as a lawyer, you know what defamation of character means. And you boldly went to the social media to vomit such a thing. This is embarrassing. This is wrong. And it is offensive. So many of my colleagues have called me to ask me, is it true that you did that? Told her to stay in the marriage till she died? I said, how could I have done that? I have been a minister for over 4 decades, and I've been a counselor to so many people. Now, one thing you do not know, Lawyer Olumide Omosebi, is this. Even when I have counseled people to be very, very strong and passionate and decisive and prayerful about marriage, there have been people who said, look, leave them. It's a personal decision. Let them marry whoever they see, whoever they love or like. And I've also always warned there could be a repercussion if you want to marry an unbeliever, an atheist. If you call yourself a Christian, you want to marry and you say love is blind, you want to just fall in love, or you are in a marriage, or while I'm doing counseling for people, I ask them, are you seeing any sign that can help you know that this person can misbehave in the future? And there's one particular question that I ask out of so many other questions. Are there times while you're courting, while you're still in the friendship or relationship, the man or the woman will be raising his hand to say, if you say any nonsense there, I'll slap you. I said, those are signs you've not gotten married. But those are signs that this person can be violent in the future. Or somebody who just slaps you on the head, slaps you on the cheek, and then say, sorry, I just didn't mean it. I said, are you seeing this sign? I ask all this. Those who lie and tell you they will be going to Ibadan, and then you find them in Ogun State while you're in the relationship. Those who lie and keep things away from you. I ask, are you seeing these signs while you are in a relationship, before you get into the marriage, there are signs that can be toxic. And I've heard people say, look, are you the one going to give them a husband? It's a personal decision. Let them marry. Do you want them to grow old before when they'll be out of the marriageable age? I've heard all of that, but I've still had to take my stand. So counsel those that I love according to the word of the Lord. Those that I am a shepherd over by the grace of God, because I want them to be happy in their home, in their marriage, in their lives. I want them to be full of joy and to be able to fulfill this. So I would never have told her to stay in a toxic marriage. But that's what you said. And that's what you put on air. You have talked in air. You have embarrassed me, embarrassed the church and the community of believers and ministers who know me very well, more than you do. Do the needful. You are a lawyer. Without confirming anything, without coming to ask me or interview me, you release such a dirty message to the world with so much conviction, without confirmation. Do the needful. I'm sure you will have wise people around. I'm sure your learned colleagues, when they see my disclaimer, will be able to advise you. I'm sure that older people who are always around us would advise you. But sometimes your ego might tell you nothing will happen, but leave it that way. Sometimes people's ego will make them go in the wrong direction. Please do the needful. And I learned that people have talked to me even before you match out. After you release the first video, there were people from the church, from overseas, who called you to correct you. The family members spoke to you, called you to correct you. The children said they corrected you, yet you went ahead with the video. You didn't drop it. You did not publish a correction of yourself. Do the needful. Do the needful. Because this that you have done is wrong. You have touched a pillar, a vessel that you should not touch. You cannot tarnish my name or my image that God has given to me in the kingdom of Christ and in the society. And by the grace of God, I've been a blessing to many souls, many lives, and even to the Odu family, the children and the wonderful woman, Evangelist Temitope Odu. Mr. Chris, the husband that you want to prosecute for violent attacks and domestic violence that you know impacted our life negatively and led to her death according to the things that you are releasing on social media. We know that he was violent. We fought with him in the church. He left the church. He will call me on the phone and say all manner of wrong things regarding the wife and the church. And I will also talk to him and let him know you can call him and interview him. That is walking in error. But you didn't know all that. You came out to say that I told late Evangelist Temitope Odu to stay in the toxic marriage. And you were saying that some people told you and that every time she had issues and she left him, she will come back and say, "What's a 5 years? It's been resolved." Did she mention that it's the pastor who resolved the matter, or was it Christ Apostolic Vineyard of Mercy members? What if barrier could be that she and her spouse had resolved the matter, not that Pastor Anude the barrier, because we had always warned her. That's why sometimes she would leave the place and stay in the church or would stay with church members. Even when she went to the law school in Abuja, she stayed with one of our beloved sisters and church members in the family there. And we know what the husband said. And every time he attacked her, and we got wind of it because she kept some of these things to herself. It was people who would notice, or whenever she ran out and she ran to the church and stayed in the church for some time, and the husband would call to say that we are the one letting our wife stay out of the home, that will ask the woman, and then she would mention that he is violent. That's when we will know sometimes she concealed. She had a personal belief. Let me give you some examples. When they had accommodation problems and she wanted to live with the children with some friends, Chris Oden also went to stay with one of my associate pastors who was talking to him. And one day he came out and saw him weeping and asked him, "What is it because of the accommodation?" You know, Chris Odu was an erratic person and is still an erratic man. He said all sorts, and my associate pastor said, "All right, we'll give you some money. He will give you some money, and you will rent a place." But he called the wife and handed over the money to the wife. Chris Odu, the husband, was upset with my associate pastor. Evangelist Temitope Odu brought the money to me and said, "We have received help from one of your associate pastors." And I said, "Don't rent a house. If you have some more money, add it to that money and buy a land in Ikorodu." I was the one who advised her when she mentioned she was going to rent a house. Just as I told her, she bought the land. And the husband later called me to say that she asked her for the money that was given by my associate pastor for them to rent a house. And that she said she had bought the land. I said, "So what's the offense in that?" He said the land was not bought in his name or both names, but in her name. I said, "Did you add money to it?" He got upset. I encouraged her who was supporting her, and she built a house there in Ikorodu. Chris Odu, the husband, was upset that she built a house and said she built a house without his knowledge. I said, "Is there any offense in that? Is that not going to be the family house?" He even swore he will never get into that house. And I told the wife, "You don't even have to let him in from the way he's been violently attacking." We did not know, the church members did not know after she had built the house that she took him to the house, showed him the house, made him move in there, and he began to fight with her in the house that this house that you have should have belonged to him, not to her. We were shocked that she took him there. All right, that was a personal decision. All the church friends and church members never advise that to do that. Because there are people who will say again, it's a personal thing, just leave her alone. There are people who have said things like that to us when we take our stand. Even our booklet for the ceremonial wedding, there is a place where we ask before we join them together. That any of you here that's speaking to the intended couple, there is one of you who knows any impediment whereby you may not be lawfully joined together as husband and wife. Say it now, right in the presence of the church. And what we usually get from people is there is no lawful impediment. Why they may not be, no impediment, why they may be joined together in holy matrimony. We ask them. During counseling, we ask them. During friendship, we talk to them. On the day of the wedding, joining, we still ask. Just as we ask if anybody knows in the church. Anybody now. We will ask the church, we will also ask the intended couple. The church, is there anybody who knows any reason why we may not join them together in this holy matrimony? We give them the room to indicate and tell us. Because we are concerned about their future. We ask the intended couple, do you have any? Is there anything bothering you? Is there anything you know that you can tell us now before we join you together? We let them know that those we join together, other than the way the Lord has commanded it, they are not divinely joined together. They may hide some things for themselves and get stuck in the marriage, but you can't blame the church and blame the pastor for that, for their personal decision. With all the counseling, with all the questions, and you come out to say in the social media that I, Pastor Odu, told her to stay in the toxic marriage since she died. Do the needful. Lawyer Olumide Omosebi. Take to the advice. Drop your ego. Take to the advice of people, the family members, the friends, the church members who called you. There was a woman, an evangelist in the church, a big auntie to Evangelist Temitope Odu, who called you. I was watching the video. And she was telling you the pastor would never have done that because you have a bias against the church, a bias against Christendom, against Christ, even though you call yourself a Christian. I saw how you cut out when she was letting you know that the church is, you were now saying that you were the one who went, took up the matter, and the you put the children in a hotel when they were coming for your studio interview. Were you there when the church immediately stepped in as they called to us to let us know that they are giving up the ghost? How the church made arrangements, how the church called the family members, because one of the sons said that she told him if anything happens to her, he should get justice for her. And we said, now you want that justice? Do you want it? They said, yes. We said, we are going to take it. We paid to take the cops to the mall. We gave out some money to the children. I was the one following up to do the autopsy until they came and said, there is a lawyer. The way they said it, a lawyer from the family, from the mother's side, and that was you they were talking about, who is helping out. The day you asked them to come to Panti, they told you. And I said, well, since a lawyer from the family side or from your mother's side has taken it up, we just give us feedback so that we can know where else to come. Did you know about how I personally took them to some people, told some people to talk to them on how they can get justice? Did they tell you? All you have to say, you do is you want to march down to the church from where she started to live in on Moleye Street. Even after they are told you, you said you will change the narrative. That's what I thought. Did you change the narrative? And you still march down to the frontage of Christ Apostolic Church, Vineyard of Mercy. If you know how to draw lines, there are people who can read in between the lines. If you have been told the correct thing and you still march to the front of the church, let me ask you a few questions. And if I have to talk here, I will talk there. You know, and you mentioned it, that there is a police officer living around a vicinity who said that he or she had witnessed some of these domestic attacks. Did you march to the front of that person's house? You said there were members, neighbors, who had to house her when the husband was beating her and tearing her clothes and making her to be naked in the neighborhood, running, pursuing her and hitting her. And they said it to you or to the family members. Did you march to the front of their houses? The police, when we first told the children to go to the police to report the matter, and one of the sisters got the husband arrested, and the police released him on bail and said in the certificate, death certificate, it was not written there that she was killed or murdered by violent attack. Did you march to the police station, that particular police station? Again, the police officer living on the street that witnessed some of the violent and domestic attacks, did you march to the frontage of that person's house? Why march to the church if you don't have a bias with your colleagues, with speakers speaking, vomiting error and that stench in the media space concerning the church, concerning the pastor, concerning Christianity, even if there are people who have made mistakes and people who have guided others to go in the wrong path, would you now say that is what all churches are doing and all ministers are doing? Is that going to be your conclusion? Are there no good lawyers and bad and terrible lawyers? Have we condemned all lawyers? Because of that, do the needful. Do the needful. There are a few things I'm going to also mention to you here, because we want to be sure of your informants. We want to be sure of those that gave you all those, that the confidence. I don't know what you trust in to come against this pillar and this vessel and the church of God. There's no one, no group of persons who have attacked the true men of God, the true vessels of God, or the church of God who prevail. Never in history. It's your profession. It will put you to shame. Do the needful. I have told you, I praised you for the step you took initially to help the family get you. But you don't look for your popularity and you want to catch the sympathy of people by tarnishing another person's image on them. You know what that means in law. Do the needful. Did you hear that Sister Temitope Odu had personal reasons for staying in that marriage, despite the counsel that family members, her own sisters, did you accuse the sisters also and the children who were always there during the violent attack? And they are grown ups now. Till the last minute, did you accuse them of being part of her death? And those of us who are now who gave her support, who were housing her, who were taking her out and saying to her, stay away, stay away. And suddenly she would say, what a party has been resolved. And she'll be back in that home. Do you know that she concealed even some things from me, a pastor? I've pastored her for about over 35 years. For you to know that. I would never have misled her. Neither would I have misled anyone. You can ask our church members if you hear that anybody left because of marriage, it's because of the stance that we have, the policies that we have, the counsel that we give, and they will say it's their personal reason. We should leave them alone. It's their personal decision. Because we say they have marriages, they have relationships you don't go into. If you notice such and such a sign, be careful. And some will say, well, they are growing old. Others will say, well, do you have any husband that you want to, especially to the lady? And some will form a clique and take their own personal decision. Do you now come around to blame us when they have issues and they have toxic relations? You have walked and spoken in error. Your match to the church frontage was wrong. The words you use, the accusation you use against me personally and the church, they are very, very wrong. Do the need. You should never have tampered with this flesh, with this vessel. To tarnish my image, to get popularity or the sympathy of people, this will backfire. I'm a peaceful man of God. There's a Yoruba that said, I'm a wow recording as a wow. If only you knew me, as Jesus said to the woman by the well in John chapter 4. If you knew who was talking, you would have asked me. Jesus was saying, for the kind of living water that you will drink and thirst no more. If you knew me, you would never have said such a thing about it. You would have even come to me to get more information that will help you in the prosecution. Do you know that you misled so many people on the social media? I read the comments of some people. Do you know that you misled them? Do you know what they kept saying about me because of what you released? The dirt that you released in the social media. Building it good. Now, I want you to know that the church is a good church. Pastor Anu is a caring and loving pastor. We will always have people who antagonize us, those who hated Christ in his days were there. There's those who will never love the truth. No matter how you try to be good or to be nice, in fact, being nice and good is what will make some people hate you and speak evil of you.